Hello and welcome to the Guardian Football Weekly. Canada batter 9-man Qatar 6-0, a hat-trick for Jonathan David, the first for a Concacaf player in almost a century. A massive result for the dancing Jesse Marsch and a brilliant chance to top the group and stay in Canada for the start of the knockouts. Before that, the Swiss must have thought they were in pole position to win the group after putting 4 past the Bosnians in a game that didn't happen until the last quarter. In Group A, Mexico-South Korea looked the best game on paper. A big mistake by the Korean keeper gave Mexico the points. It got pretty tense in the end. The Koreans really going for it but couldn't find a way through. And hosts doing well and staying home makes for a good tournament, so perhaps a good day for the neutrals. Also in this group, South Africa equalised late on against Czechia with one of those handballs. There's Colombia's win over Uzbekistan from last night. We'll look ahead to tomorrow, Scotland, Morocco, and the bizarre needle match between the US and the Socceroos. Tuchel moving cameramen. I'll try and tell everyone the correct date for the London live show, and we've had more correspondence on one subject than anything else so far. Stop laughing, Barry. We'll save that for part 3. As always, we'll answer your questions, and that's today's Guardian Football Weekly. On the panel today, with me in LA, Barry Glendenning, welcome.
Do you want to skip straight to part 3?
I think most listeners do, but no, I don't. Also here with us, Ben Fisher, hello.
Hey, Max.
And through the night, she's been awake watching all these games. Thank you for that. Nicky Bandini, hello.
Hey, Max.
Let's start then in Group B with Canada's 6-0 win over Qatar in Vancouver. First time Canada scored more than once in a game at the World Cup. Equal biggest margin of victory by a host in a World Cup ever, and it was as comprehensive as it gets, Baz.
Yep, it was a brilliant performance by Canada. Obviously, you can only beat what's in front of you, and what was in front of them was a team of 11 players who were playing really badly. That was then reduced to 10 players and then reduced to 9, and they got progressively worse. But the win for Canada, featuring a hat-trick by Jonathan David, and hats off to him, will obviously be overshadowed by the broken leg suffered by Ismaël Koné. It was quite gruesome looking tackle by Asim Madibo, who he was genuinely contrite afterwards, and I believe he went into the dressing room after the game and apologised profusely. But that's Ismaël Koné's World Cup over. Obviously, he's a key player for Canada, and a really, really emphatic win by them. Hat-trick, a goal scored by Nathan Saliba. Kyle Larin scored one as well, and then a comedy own goal to just add to Qatar's woe. But it was a dismal performance by Qatar, but Canada were super impressive.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how Qatar drew with Switzerland in their opening game. As we mentioned, Ben, like in the intro, it's good for a tournament if the hosts do well, right? And so if Canada, they could well win this group. It's not done yet, but if they do that, then they stay at home, and these things are great for the momentum of the tournament.
Yeah, this was massive for them. Obviously, they got underway in Toronto, a bit of lingering frustration. Only a draw in that game, but lots of positive signs. And this for Jesse Marsch in Canada just feels, just huge. I mean, as you say, now the team camp is in Vancouver. This game obviously in Vancouver. The next game is there. And there's a lot of home comforts to be had. And for Marsch, in terms of the selection, it feels like he just got that so right. He put Larin this time up front with Jonathan David. Larin didn't start the Bosnia game, was not happy about it, but obviously came on and got the goal. And in that game, Jonathan David was brought off on the hour, and people were like, oh, what's he doing kind of thing. But, this was quite the riposte. So, just perfect day and result for Canada.
And Jonathan David, interesting figure, Nicky. Currently at Juve, didn't have a brilliant season, I guess. But, there was a time at Lille when he was linked to every club everywhere, basically.
Yeah, he's clearly, in the absence of Alphonso Davies, who has been missing for them a lot in the last couple of years, he's kind of the next star up, if there's going to be a star in this team. Although I saw that in the build-up to this game, there was even, I don't know, it felt like maybe this was deliberately provocative headlines, but there was, I think it was One Soccer in Canada was pushing this suggestion of, should Jonathan David even be starting after that first game? Is he still the guy who should be starting up front? And I don't think it was ever a really very realistic suggestion that he wouldn't, but certainly good for him to get his tournament up and running. And And yeah, he was certainly hot and cold at Juventus, more cold than hot. There was a moment after Spalletti came in where he had this absolutely horrendous penalty that he got roasted for in the press, but I think a little bit excessively, even though it wasn't a good penalty. And then after that, Spalletti stuck by him, and he got on a bit of a run for a while, and you thought, is this going to be the moment when we see the best of him? And then he faded out again. So we haven't seen the best of him this year in Italy. And I do think he's got his flaws, and perhaps not always finishing as well as he can do is one of them. But this was a great game for him, even if he... even got his hat-trick at the end of it as well. So, yeah, very, very good for him and very good for Canada to have him up and running.
And actually, Baz, he took his goals. They were all like brilliant centre-forward finishes, I thought.
Yeah, the first was a nice volley when the ball sat up for him well. The second was just a tap-in, really, after Kyle Larin had a header parried his way by the keeper. And the third, I think, was the most impressive. I think Nathan Saliba was shooting.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
All fizzing towards him. His first touch was brilliant, took him away from the defender, and then turned and shot home. So brilliant first touch, brilliant finish. Two really good goals. The second I could have scored, I think.
Would you have been in the position is the question. Well,
we've established I do have the fitness now, Max, or I had until a couple of months ago.
That's true.
Saliba obviously holds up the number 8 shirt of Koné as well, when they celebrated, which was nice. And it will be interesting what they do on that going forward, because spending a bit of time with Canada before that first game, they definitely felt Koné was the one who could kind of elevate them, push them through. So that will be a one to address.
Nicky?
He's coming off a great season at Sassuolo. He scored 6 goals from midfield for them, and I think there's been a feeling in Italy that this was kind of his moment to launch to a big move this World Cup. There's been talk about some of the big clubs in Italy coming in for him, and not insignificant amounts of money being thrown around, €30 million type fees for him, which I don't know if some of those again is paper talk. But listen, it doesn't matter what stage of the career you're in, it's never going to be a nice moment to suffer a horrendous leg break like that. And it was really encouraging to see him sitting up and giving the thumbs up to the crowd as he went off. But it does feel like it's a especially awful moment for a young footballer who was on the verge of, I suppose, having that, I don't know, explosion in his career, perhaps.
Yeah. By the end, Baz, that game is faintly ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, there was one point where the Canada keeper was sort of advancing into the opposition half and the fans were singing shoot, and you just think, even if it's a World Cup, Qatar just wanted to get off that pitch.
Yeah, they wanted to get off the pitch, and Canada wanted to score as many goals as possible. There was no let-up. So I'd imagine Qatar were slightly fed up about that. Interestingly, actually, Nathan Saliba scored from a free kick, and the Qatar wall was a man short, so he was able to bend the ball around the outside. But that was the first free kick that's been scored in this World Cup, and it's about 20 games in. I think that's the first one. So, and after the game, Julian Lopetegui and Jesse Marsh were having a conversation. Lopetegui was speaking very earnestly into Marsh's ear, and it looked like they were having a very amicable discussion, and then Marsh just turned away from Lopetegui and flung his hands up in the air and sort of stormed off. So I'd be interested to know what was said there.
And also the Jesse Marsh sort of, I think it was when they got the free kick, they got the penalty that then became a free kick. He did a sort of odd, and I'm in danger of recreating things after I recreated what the VAR did by mistake the other day. But yes, I don't know what dance it was, but I look like an even more middle-aged man than Jesse Marsh when I'm trying to recreate it. Yes, Ben?
Jesse Marsh I just find kind of semi-fascinating. Obviously, we know he's American. He's in charge of Canada. There's a sense that he feels pretty hacked off that he didn't get considered or was overlooked for the USA gig. And it just feels like he has got the Canadians in the palm of his hand, really. I mean, before this World Cup, they'd lost all 6 previous World Cup games. Obviously, they got 4 points from 2. Even his comments on the eve of that first one, where he's, sort of made a dig saying that the Canadians sing the anthem with real gusto when he was with the US setup. It wasn't always that way. We had to beg them to sing it. He's scoring lots of points for the Canadians, and they're going pretty swimmingly.
Switzerland 4, Bosnia and Herzegovina 1. All goals scored by substitutes. And Nicky, you said, this is a real game of one quarter. And I'll go to Ben first because you were there. What did you make of this?
Yeah, it was slow burner, Max, as you say. Johan Manzambi, the 20-year-old, I was going to say the 20-year-old midfielder, but afterwards Murat Yakin, the head coach, was saying, he can play striker, he can play wing, centre mid. He actually even said defence. He was the player who changed the game, scored with under 3 minutes of coming on, and scored twice then. It was his pass to release Bril Imbolo, which triggered the red card for Bosnia and Herzegovina. Manzambi was the match winner, really. Obviously, it finished 4-1. Granit Xhaka took the penalty, wouldn't let Manzambi take it. You kind of were thinking he's going to let Manzambi take it, get his hat-trick potentially. Afterwards, talking to Xhaka, he said, no, these are the rules, and like any good captain would, I suppose. But Switzerland needed that, and a big win for them.
I'm never sure, Ben, how much listeners care about the travails of a journalist, but in terms of late rewrites, that was an arse of a game, wasn't it?
Well, it was a pain because it's a midday kickoff locally, but because of the time difference, it does mean deadlines back home in the UK. So yeah, a bit of a pain, but it was good to see the game come alive. And Manzambi was kind of just sort of freestyling all over the pitch. Very much the architect of everything that was good for Switzerland.
Wasn't Xhaka quite critical of him after the first game?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and afterwards, Barry, talking to Granit Xhaka, he was sort of saying how good was Manzambi. And he said, yeah, he's good when he's got a clear head. And he kind of resisted, the obvious tapping of saying, yeah, he was brilliant, what a player. He was keen to kind of balance it out and say, yeah, he's good when he's on it, but in the first game, he wasn't. And the other key thing to say with Xhaka is he was critical of that first performance against Qatar, obviously a dreadful result by their standards, the draw, 26 shots, their only goal, the Imbolo penalty. And in the Swiss media, they were saying that created kind of negativity, even suggestions of sort of toxicity. And Xhaka said, no, if I'm critical, it's me. I'm the first person to criticise. So he was very keen to talk after the game today, spoke to almost a dozen outlets, I would say. I think he had a message to get off his chest.
Nicky?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? Because what he actually said after that first game was... he said if the coach brings players in and you don't have the discipline for certain positions, then it becomes difficult. He was basically having a go at Manzambi for, in his not quite so many words, for freelancing, for not doing what the team required. So that dynamic at the end then of, well, no, the team rules say that I take this penalty and you don't get your hat-trick. It does feel like a tension there, almost a little power struggle happening, which perhaps you can leverage that and make it a good thing. But I do fear with that sort of dynamic at a World Cup, these are the things that you all have to live together. You all have to get on together in a training camp for this period of time. And it does feel like that's maybe not been resolved or maybe been brought to the fore some more.
Yes, we all have to live together, Barry.
I bet Granit Xhaka screws the lid onto the Diet Coke bottle properly.
I bet Manzambi doesn't just burp in his face and not apologise. We'll get to that. I guess Switzerland must have thought, we've won the group now. They've won 4-1. And so the way this is set up now, Canada and Switzerland both on 4 points. Switzerland playing Canada, of course. So that is a big game.
Yeah, it is a big game. And Canada will desperately want to win it to stay in Canada. I suppose more interestingly now, Bosnia have to play against and beat Qatar. They probably have enough about them to beat them, but they may need to beat them by a lot.
But, they will have a few suspensions, Qatar. They've got enough players? Yeah. I don't know.
Well, we've now had 6 red cards in this tournament already, which is one more than the entire last World Cup.
That is interesting, isn't it? What happened in the last World Cup? Just everyone was fine.
Everyone just got along.
Everyone was nice.
Well behaved.
They weren't meanies like Granit Xhaka. Anyway, that'll do for part 1. We have live shows in September. The 1st of September, we're at Vicar Street in Dublin. The 9th of September, is that correct? I'm just confirming. It is correct. Not the 8th. The 9th of September, we are at the Soho Theatre in Walthamstow. We have been saying the 8th for a number of days. So, I don't know. Look, we win as a team and we lose as a team. But,
I haven't a clue what date it is. It definitely isn't my fault.
No, it's not your fault. It's not Nicky's fault. It's not Ben's fault. It may be mine. But yeah, the 9th of September at the Soho Theatre in Walthamstow. Go to theguardian.co.uk/Football Weekly Live and come along and have a nice time. And in part 2, we'll do Group A featuring Mexico, South Korea, Czechia and South Africa. Hi, Pod fans. Max here. Barry's here too.
Hello.
Now, Football Weekly is supported by Gradient FC. Now, Barry, we've talked a lot on the pod about football analytics, XG and all that. And those pod fans who are deep into football analytics will probably already know Gradient Sports. They work with pro clubs across Europe's top leagues to provide player performance insights. But now they're bringing that same pro-level analysis directly to fans through the Gradient FC app.
Sounds interesting. What does it do?
Well, each match is graded by a team of experts who evaluate over 2,000 player actions per match, not just by outcome, but by execution. So, for example, a completed pass that leads the receiver into danger is graded negatively, while one that puts the receiver in on goal is graded positively.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, and with Gradient FC, you get some of the deepest metrics available to ordinary fans, like line-breaking passes, dribbles into dangerous positions, and chance creations. Now, I know you hate making match predictions, Barry, but maybe all that could change with Gradient FC, with head-to-head player comparison tools that show you who's best across more than 100 grades and metrics. It's easy to build and defend any prediction. And here's something else that will appeal to you, Barry. It's free.
Well, I am surprised to hear that, Max.
Well, explore it for yourself at gradientfc.com or download the Gradient FC app from the Apple App Store or Google Play, or use the QR code on screen now. Welcome to part 2 of the Guardian Football Weekly. So huge win for Mexico then in Guadalajara. Just the one goal in it. What did you make of this one, Nicky?
It was a slow watch, I would say, at whatever it was by full time, 4 a.m. local time. It certainly took its time to come alive, didn't it? Which is a shame because it was the one of the 4 games today that I was most looking forward to. I think it was something like 0.1 xg for each team at half time, and even that felt like it might have been being generous. And I think the first corner of the game was in second half injury time, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a slow burner, and I think that perhaps is somewhat what we're going to get out of Mexico at this tournament. I think they are not in a mood to give their opponents anything easily. They're not in a mood to push the boat out and be lavish in the way they played. It's interesting, actually, Luis Romo, who ends up scoring the goal, he did an interview last week, which some people weren't very impressed about, where one of the questions that came up was, do you feel like a responsibility and obligation to win this game against Korea? And he said, well, no, actually, we don't have an obligation to win it. And actually what he was trying to say was we just have to go and play our game. But I think that was read by some people as, look at the lack of ambition in this team, look at the lack of courage to go out and say, no, we're going to go and win at home. And then, of course, he becomes the hero, scoring at the ground where he plays his home games for Chivas. So funny how that goes around. But it was a very stodgy game at the beginning. The inclusion of Roma was in itself a bit of a message because he is a bit more of a combative, less creative player. Was a bit of a surprise inclusion, but again, took his moment brilliantly. And I also think part of it was the way Korea approached it. Korea, I think, clearly had seen in that first game that Eric Lira was really able to do a lot of the pulling the strings from Mexico from the base of midfield. They had a clear plan to get on top of him and not give him the freedom to do that early in the game, which was effective. I thought Korea were crowding the midfield, but it just led to a very uneventful first half. And even after the goal, didn't get that exciting, did it?
No, I mean, it was good from about the 86th minute on, I think, Barry, when South Korea were like, oh, actually, we should go for this. And then they really went for it. And it was quite compelling for that last few minutes in injury time.
Yeah, I would take exception, Max, with what you said in the intro, and you're not the only person who said it, that Mexico scored on the back of a terrible mistake by the South Korean goalkeeper Kim Sung-yu, because I don't think he made a mistake. He came for the ball, he caught it, and one of his own defenders was in front of him, and he could not drop the ball because.
Do you think?
I just think he was unlucky.
Okay.
I don't see how he could have possibly have held on to it in the circumstances he found himself in. But anyway, that's by the by. I think South Korea went into this game playing for a draw, and then they went a goal behind, and they didn't start throwing the kitchen sink at Mexico till the last 10 minutes or so, and they had 3, I would say, presentable chances.
One massive chance.
All from crosses. In the last few minutes, but they couldn't put any of them away.
Yeah, a great save from Raul Rangel, who also, is from from there as well. And that was the key moment, right? Because they win the group now, Mexico, which means they are at home for the last 32 and last 16, if I think I'm right.
Yeah.
Which could mean England going there in the last 16. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, obviously they've got a cult hero, haven't they, in Guillermo Ochoa, the Mexico goalkeeper, who's part of this squad. We've seen him a few times, a nice sort of camera angles and stuff of him. But yeah, this was hell of a save. Double save. And then his own defender, Johan Vasquez, ends up kind of falling over him. It was kind of like a mini ruck on the goal line. But yeah, quite the crescendo to the game after quite a sluggish start. But yeah, and then it was the chance right at the end as well. Even 94th minute, Korea still could have scored. So
it was a great overhead kick off the line by Alvarez as well, right?
Oh,
it was early in the game, which was offside anyway, but it was brilliant overhead kick off the line still.
Yeah, and that was Son, wasn't it? And Nicky, you sort of think, there was a time when taking Heung-min Son off for South Korea when you need a goal would be completely unheard of. I'm not sure if the point I'm making, but people get older, I suppose, and Sonny gets older.
They do, and it would surprise me. I mean, you're chasing a goal, you need that goal, and you take off the guy who's still, I think, at least symbolically the talisman up front, isn't he? And perhaps it was in some sense vindicated by the fact they do get that great chance at the end. I don't know what you think on that chance at the end. The commentators on the BBC were being quite harsh on Cho, saying that they thought he should have done better, but I think he heads it down across goal. It gets the awkward bounce up. I'm not saying it couldn't be better, but I didn't think it was a shameful attempt on that header. It just didn't quite work out. The keeper make a good save.
Yeah, I mean the noise was great when Mexico scored. Despite a few empty seats, Tariq Panja writing, should not be empty seats at a Mexico home game in the World Cup. This country has gone bananas for its team's games. There has to be a way to fill every seat. I think we all agree with that.
I was just going to say, we might come to it, but sort of related to that, I was talking earlier to somebody, and the tickets for the USA-Australia game, some tickets selling for around $8,000, which is insane. So, I totally agree with the sort of sentiment, but what are the ticket prices here?
Well, no, 100%.
You imagine paying $8,000 to watch that. The first 85 minutes of that game. God.
Yeah, can you dynamically price it down as the game's going on is the question. Exactly. But South Korea, look, they should beat South Africa, who did get a draw against Czechia, which isn't really great for either of them. For those watching on YouTube, the scarf has fallen off the table. Hopefully people carry on watching. Hopefully that's not the thing that keeps us with this podcast and not a rival. We can try and put it back on, Barry. That's nice, isn't it?
It's upside down. Yeah,
it's upside down. Come on, let's do it properly. Yeah, come on. Okay. God, we
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Like a married couple. Yes, Barry. To me a bit, to you, to me, to you. Could be our catchphrase. Anyway, Czechia won, South Africa won. Czechia haven't won either of their two opening games. Is that a surprise to you, Ben?
A little bit. I mean, I probably thought they might have won this game. I have to say, I thought the penalty for South Africa to equalise was extremely
do not start me
soft. I remember a couple of years ago, I was at a PGMOL camp, referees training camp, and it's really interesting. Sat with all the referees and they're watching.
Was it really interesting?
It was. They're dissecting clips,
all right,
and then basically going around the room saying, and what is that? Is that a foul? Is it not? And the one thing that just sticks in my mind is that if it's soft, or if it's perceived to be soft, which it feels like it's something we say a lot as fans and watchers of it, then it's just a non-starter. And to me, the fact that you can blast the ball at somebody and it's still handball. It feels like one of those handballs that we saw in the Premier League a little bit a couple of years ago when people were crossing it and just, I think it's a bit farcical.
Like me and Barry were saying, what's he meant to do? Like, there's nothing he can do. It's completely ridiculous.
And his arms were kind of tucked in as well, weren't they?
Furious about it. But I suppose, Nicky, it does set up the group in quite an interesting way because both Czechia and South Africa go into this final game knowing that if they get a big win, which may be unlikely, South Africa play South Korea and Czechia play Mexico, they can still get through.
Yeah, it keeps it alive. I mean, I think even though the Mexico-South Korea game was very, very low on instant, I think this game just felt like it was desperately low on quality to me. It really felt like this was two teams who you almost don't want to see them going further in the tournament because they haven't done enough in the tournament to deserve to go further. And there's maybe going to be one or two of those that do get through because of the best third places. But it was not a particularly technically brilliant game of football, I thought. And I thought South Africa were resorting and not to just having a go from a long way out, and one of those eventually gets them a penalty. And Czechia, yeah, it was a nice goal from Madalek to get things going, and a very quick goal. But it just felt like after that was the end of their ambition. They were just going to try to lock that down.
Yeah, shout to the referee, even though we didn't agree with the penalty decision. That's more, I would say, the laws of the game than the ref. Tori Penso, the second woman ever to officiate a men's World Cup match, so well done to her. Last night, Colombia beat Uzbekistan 3-1. And actually, Barry, this was quite a fun game of football, I thought.
Yeah, I watched this in a bar with a load of Colombians who had a very jolly evening.
Did you make any friends?
No, I didn't make any friends, Max. But the Colombians, a great bunch of lads, I'm going to say. And weirdly, as soon as the final whistle left, they all left.
Right.
Just pub emptied.
Fine.
But anyway, yeah, they had a good night. It was a hard-fought win for Colombia, to be honest. I thought Uzbekistan gave a pretty good account of themselves. And Colombia didn't put the game beyond them until very late with an excellent goal. Brilliant Campas header from a brilliant Juan Hernandez cross. But Luis Diaz scored in this game as well. Bit lucky, the keeper sort of let his weakest shot squirm under his body. And Diaz also provided an assist for Colombia's first. A lovely pass over the top, and Daniel Munoz of Crystal Palace fame helped it along with a good volley, helped past the Uzbekistan goalkeeper. And Uzbekistan scored their first ever World Cup goal, so hats off to them. I believe a pitch-side cameraman was also taken out, I think by Abdulkadir Kushinov tackled someone, and both players went into this pitch-side cameraman, and he looked like they'd done a number on him.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so I hope he's okay. But it was a decent game, and Colombia were worthy winners, but Uzbekistan were all right.
And a shout for the shot of the tournament in the last seconds of this game from Bekras Karimov, Ben.
Yes,
what a hit.
It was hell of a hit. It was kind of like a sort of FIFA Street game breaker, wasn't it? It just cracked it 35 yards maybe. Yeah, an amazing effort. Deserve more.
It deserved to go in. I'm very sad
I'd say the woodwork is still shaking.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
The Munoz goal was brilliant, though, wasn't it? We've already been treated to some great goals this tournament, but that was right up there for me. It's kind of the sort of world's best toe poke in terms of the finish.
Oh, world's best toe poke. That is a rabbit hole I could definitely go down. Anyway,
does it still count as a toe poke if it's not
volley?
on the ground? I suppose it can.
I suppose it is still a toe, isn't it? But yeah, it was a lovely finish. Anyway, that'll do for part 2. Part 3, we'll look ahead to tomorrow's games. Welcome to part 3 of the Guardian Football Weekly. So tomorrow, Scotland, Morocco, USA, Australia, Brazil, Haiti, Turkey, Paraguay. It's a great set of games, isn't it? We should probably start with Scotland, Barry, because the game against Haiti, we got some pushback for saying, they should have won by more because it was a win at the World Cup, and they haven't done that in a long time. And Haiti actually played quite well, I thought, but they need a point. Like, they need a point from Morocco and Brazil, and that is not easy.
Yeah. I kind of thought we would get pushback, but I stand over my opinion. Any win at the World Cup is a good win, but I think the team they were playing were bad. I don't think Scotland played well, and I think Scotland on a good day, would have won by 3 or 4 goals, but they didn't, and that could come back to bite them. It may not. If they get a draw tomorrow, then it doesn't matter how many goals they scored against Haiti. Whether or not they will get a draw remains to be seen, because Morocco need a result as well after their draw with Brazil. Scotland are definitely capable of a lot better than they showed against Haiti, so let's hope they show it against Morocco tomorrow.
Yeah, and Nicky, they need that midfield, and they do miss Gilmore, but they need McGinn and McTominay especially to really perform.
Yeah, McTominay, obviously there was that talk of him having a bug right before the tournament, so perhaps he'll be in slightly better condition for this one. But it'll be interesting to see how they approach it, right? Because it was a 4-4-2 against Haiti, and will they take out one of Shea Adams or Shankland and pull someone else into that midfield? Because it does feel like it's going to be all about whether or not they can exercise some control there. I thought Lewis Ferguson was good against Haiti, but McTominay was a bit less his usual self. And so how you aim to I guess, maybe it's too pessimistic to say, but I almost feel like the Scottish plan is going to have to involve a certain amount of how you aim to slow down this Morocco team, because Morocco have got so many different ways of attacking you. They have got a lot of options on the flanks, and they've got fullbacks who can really kick on. Most obviously Hakimi, but I mean Mazraoui and Kanous on the other side are also just as much going to get at you. So it feels like they're going to want someone else in that midfield. It feels like you're going to want an extra body in there, and how they're going to do that, we'll find out.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then the US, Australia, two sides who had absolutely brilliant, almost sort of life-affirming performances, in their first games. And there's a sort of bit of needle now. I mean, mainly because the US have written off the Socceroos. And I saw my mate Craig Foster saying, you don't want to piss off the Aussies, because they don't like that. And I just think it'll be really interesting to see how this game plays out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a corking game. People keep telling me that Seattle, where the game's being played, is probably sort of the US stronghold in terms of football,
be a great
soccer. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. I suppose the big talking point is Christian Pulisic. Will he play? Won't he play? Feels like his every move has been tracked this week, sort of granular details.
There's been a poor reporter at the ground for Fox, and she's just basically watching Christian Pulisic on a pitch beyond where the other players are training on his own, trying to stare at how long the sock is on his calf.
Yeah, I've seen that left calf too many times, Max. Mauricio Pochettino kind of non-committal on Pulisic, which makes me think he might play. But equally, I don't think they need to risk him. I think the fact they got that win on the board first time round probably takes the pressure off.
Yeah, and maybe he's just injured from advertising Wells Fargo credit cards
and
too many times.
Hershey chocolate
and
bars.
Hershey and everything else. But good on him. Cash in when you can, Christian. So Brazil, Haiti, Baz, any thoughts?
I think Brazil will win very comfortably.
Okay, thank you.
But I would welcome Haiti to surprise me.
Yeah, me too. A must win for Turkey after that defeat to Australia. Paraguay were not good against the US, so see how the dark horses can get on. Thomas Tuchel has won a battle with FIFA to get photographers moved away from the bench during the national anthems. He said he couldn't see his team before the win over Croatia. I have to tell you something. I'm begging FIFA to change the position of the photographers in the national anthem because I could not see my team. One of the best things, Nicky, about being here is not having to engage with people furious about whether Thomas Tuchel sings the anthem or not. I just wonder if he was sort of trying to placate them, or he usually doesn't care about anything. So maybe he did just want to see his brave boys.
Didn't he say that he isn't going to sing the anthem until he earns it? So it's not about singing it himself, but wanting to, I suppose, be able to share that moment. I understand that as a coach, wanting to see your players. I don't know if you've seen the actual images of what it looked like, but he does have 100 cameras right in his face, and I can imagine as a coach wanting to have some sort of line of sight to your players in that moment before a game, just to, I don't know, transmit those subtle cues to each other and remind each other of what you've talked about in some way. I don't know. I feel like that is a moment that's slightly been taken from the coaches. So I think it's a valid complaint, even if, of course, all these things are blown up into far too muust discourse because it's a World Cup. It's
also quite claustrophobic having this wall of cameras right up in your grill. And it's just ridiculous. It's another English obsession. It's like the captaincy. Heimer Hallgrimsson is the manager of the Republic of Ireland. He's Icelandic. I have no idea if he sings the Irish national anthem. I don't care if he sings the national anthem. He probably doesn't because it's quite hard to learn. It's in a different language. It's in Irish, and it's all about shooting Brits and whatnot. But yeah, no one cares whether he sings. But
no, I mean, I certainly don't care. I wonder if King Charles cares if he's checking on Thomas Tuchel. How does Thomas Tuchel learn it? By winning football matches or by becoming more English? If he just sort of, I was going to say gets into Fawlty Towers. That's the wrong show to suggest, isn't it? But Thomas Tuchel, you take my point, don't you? Anyway, what did you think of England, Nicky? What's the vibe? Is there World Cup fever after that? Which I thought was a great performance against Croatia.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I don't know if it's also partly a feeling reinforced by the fact that the BBC on all their on the iPlayer, they've got all these reflective, nostalgic shows available to watch that I've been throwing on in the background while doing other things. So you've got the Dear England, but there was a look back at the golden generation and how all that went wrong in 2006. And there was something when you just contrast, I think it's especially watching that Golden Generation one, you contrast how there were these periods when England had quite good players, but somehow you knew that actually watching them at a World Cup was going to be dreadful. It was going to be painful. You're going to be sitting there for 90 minutes waiting for maybe David Beckham to do something that made it all okay. And it was fun to watch an England team go out and score 4 goals in the first game of the tournament and look like they had a good energy about that and enjoyed doing it. It doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win it, but personally, I do think they're in the small group of teams that can win it.
The videos of DR Congo's fans celebrating are still filling me with joy. And there is one where loads of them are in a sports hall. Some lad in the front row has the notification that they've scored, which is normally incredibly annoying. But this is brilliant. Watching the anticipation of this guy looking at his phone and looking around going, this is going to be a goal. And then like a few people start dancing in the background and then it's just absolutely, it's so fun. And like there are obviously millions of videos from millions of different, that's what the World Cup does, right? But kids at school in Korea or whatever, it's great.
He did one last double take as well before the goal actually was confirmed. But yeah, amazing to see him. What was the one, was it the Spain... Cape Verde. No, what was the goal the other day where there was a pocket of fans?
That was DR Congo as well. And actually, that was in Lisbon. Well. That was a watch-along in Lisbon. And so it is like a sea of red. And then these 10 blue shirts jumping up. We haven't got a lot of correspondence, Barry, on your new friend.
Right.
Ken's Alpaca writes, new friend for Barry. It's not just England scoring. Cisco Jav says, I stopped listening to my pod just so I could come to YouTube and watch Barry squirm. Sim, watching Barry get uncomfortable about the reference to his new friend is chef's kiss. Nish Kumar got in touch. Hey, Nish. Has Barry got a girlfriend? Has he befriended a Hollywood star? Is his girlfriend a Hollywood star? Has Nicole Kidman rebounded into Barry? Do we need to buy a new hat, Barry? Are there wedding bells on the horizon?
No, there aren't.
Okay. Damn it.
Basically what happened is I had a conversation with a woman in a bar.
This is pretty extraordinary.
So, I mean, that's...
that's something.
That's something. And I think she was quite smitten by my accent.
Well, of course.
Took selfies. Mm-hmm. I made the critical error of showing the selfie to the Wicked Witch of the North.
Yeah,
Lucy Ward, who decided to roll that grenade in while I was in mid-flow yesterday. So yeah, I wouldn't go buying a hat just yet. I did meet a Hollywood star this morning.
Yes, you did.
But I didn't realise it at the time.
No, they were filming Selling Sunset in our pool was closed because they were filming Selling Sunset. Mrs. Rushden very excited about this news.
Yeah. And so ye told me that that's what they were filming, and I Googled it and then realised I'd been in the elevator with the star of the show, Christine Quinn.
Christine Quinn, yes.
Earlier this morning. Mm-hmm. She was fumbling around in her purse looking for the key fob to work the buttons on the elevator. So I stepped in and then
chivalrous.
I commented on, she was drinking what looked like a very healthy green smoothie, healthy and unpleasant. So I commented on that, and she said, well, sometimes I blow out and have a pizza or some ice cream, but today I'm keeping it healthy. And then when we got out of the lift, we both turned the same way, and it got to the stage where I had to say, look, I'm not following you, I lived this way as well. And then it turned out she's Christine Quinn from Selling Sunset.
Do you know what Selling Sunset is?
I believe it's some awful reality show.
They sell incredibly expensive houses for like $100 million. So right. I think you would be an amazing addition to this program.
I mean, I looked out the window and they were filming a poolside interview. And all I can imagine, I can't think of any reality show that would not be enhanced by me in a pair of Speedos running across the courtyard and just, top bombing into the pool.
Anyway. You don't know, Baz. She might have been asking her friends after game, was that Barry Glendenning from Football Weekly?
She could have been.
It could be a collab. I'm not quite sure how it works, but you never know. Everyone is welcome. Baz, the production team, along with Ben and myself, are playing a pickup game of football, 9-a-side. We are bringing in Lloyd Griffith as well, from comedian, actor, and doing a rival podcast at the moment. So we'd like some tactical insight or a rousing team talk for you? Are you going to come? Are you going to play?
I'm not going to play.
Uh-huh.
We did pass one of those little electric delivery boxes on wheels.
Yes.
Or we passed two of them on the way down here. Both of them stuck behind trees.
Yeah.
So whoever's waiting for their dinner to come in with those things, I hope they're not too hungry. But you did suggest that you could recruit one of them just to run up and down.
Could work the channels like Cristiano.
Yeah.
I wonder, would be that more useful or you? I don't know.
Well, I know some of our production team played a pickup game earlier this week and by all accounts disgraced themselves and were completely embarrassed. You're representing the pod, you're sort of representing me. Don't make a show of me.
Okay. As long as you know when you are meeting Instagrammers, you're representing me.
Yeah.
So
well, my new friend is, needless to say, an influencer by trade. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
But I have more followers than she has.
God, poor her.
I think that stuck in her craw.
I bet it did. Anyway, but imagine the power couple you could be if you combine those followers together. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you for today. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Baz.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicky. Thanks for staying up all night.
Yes.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Football Weekly is produced by Rory Simon and Matt Bentley-Viney. Our executive producer is Joel Grove. We'll be back tomorrow.